Oh, okay. Are you okay? That's cool. Well, their entire team just wants to spawn cam it. What the fuck is going on with my boys? Ghost shell? Oh man, I love Churchills. If I die to CS again, this video's over. Yep, okay, video's over. Hello, I'm Chicken Farmer. Welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be about the Churchill NA75, or the Churchill with the Sherman gun. This vehicle was one I was really hyped for going into the Sky Guardians update, because usually you can't get explosive filler in a low-tier British tank. They tend to mostly use solid shot, which is something that I find very, very annoying. This thing feels weaker than a regular Churchill, and that's mostly due to the gun. The gun mantlet actually creates a few massive weak points on the turret that usually aren't there on Churchills. This is going to be the first of a new structured video type that I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be filling out a checklist of things that I want to cover on each vehicle so that any new players or just players that have not gotten their hands on these vehicles, those players can kind of go off of that rather than just numbers, because sometimes numbers can be a little confusing. So the Churchill 75 has decent all-around protection. It's very, very good for side scraping, as the tracks really absorb a lot of shots. But it really starts to fall apart when you run into those enemies that have stronger guns, when you start running into tigers, when you start running into panthers. Now, like I mentioned earlier in the video, the gun mantlet that they had to change out and everything for this 75mm gun creates some massive weak points, and they get down to around 50 to 60 millimeters, which is really not good. For being a Churchill, that's pretty low, especially at the battle rating it is. So do keep in mind that just above your gun and just below your gun are very thin, along with the weird bulges that make up the gun mantlet also become very weak when you angle your turret at all. Now, when it comes to survivability on this vehicle, it's pretty good because of the way that the whole tank is laid out. It does tend to get its turret knocked out first thing just because of those massive weak points being there. The entire middle section of the hull is full of ammunition. But generally, the survivability is pretty good just because of its armor, but once you start getting penned, it can become very, very dangerous, especially due to the amount of ammo that's in the vehicle. Now, there is no ammo in the turret, so that is really good news for this vehicle, as most of the shells that will be penetrating your armor will be through the turret. Now, when it comes to mobility on this vehicle, it is really not worth talking about. It has a max speed of 28 kilometers an hour, which, since I don't have any of the mobility upgrades yet, it does take a lot of effort to get to that 28 kilometer an hour cap. Pretty much, it just doesn't have a reverse gear. Even in emergencies, it's not even worth backing up. When it comes to firepower, it's a decent vehicle. I will say it is just a Sherman's 75mm, so it's going to be decent. Like I said, it does have filler. Has around 100mm of pen at max, so you will be able to deal with many targets that you'll find, but generally speaking, there are a lot of vehicles that you have a very hard time dealing with 100mm of pen. But overall, the gun is pretty decent. Now, when it comes to difficulty, it's just so hard to say because the gun is going to be harder to use against some enemies, and the armor really doesn't hold up in comparison to, let's say, a Churchill Crocodile. So overall, I would say it's a relatively difficult tank to play. It's not the most difficult, as you have a decent bit of armor to fall back on, especially if you're fighting people that are a little less experienced. They won't really know which spots to shoot, so it can be a little reliable. And the gun, I think, is fun. It's just sometimes requires aim that some players may not have yet. So overall, I think the difficulty is relatively high for this vehicle. Now, fun value of this thing is pretty damn low. It just is. I myself am not a massive fan of any of these mid 20 kilometer an hour top speeds. So the fact that you'll have trouble getting to different locations on the battlefield, getting there at a decent time, the gun can sometimes troll you a little bit, especially against those harder to pen vehicles. Do keep in mind, once you get the better ammunition, it does get a lot better from there. So overall, I'd say this is below average fun value, at least for me. Alright, so that's enough talking about this vehicle. Let's get into some gameplay. But first, please take a second and like the video, and if you haven't already, consider subscribing. I post videos every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday, so if that's interesting to you, please consider subscribing. Alright, time to get into that gameplay. For those of you all that are new to the channel, do keep in mind, I am not a great player at this game. I am a very average player. So do keep in mind the things that I say are not geared towards higher level gameplay by any means. If anything, they're geared towards lower level gameplay. Oh, something interesting is the gun is pretty accurate out to around 400 meters, even without adjustment of fire. That is something I was genuinely impressed by when stock grinding this thing. They already have heavy tanks up in our spawn. Wow. Oh, okay. Are you okay? That's cool. I've never seen the dive tactic used on the Churchill before. Well, their entire team just wants to spawn cam it. What the fuck is going on with my voice today? I can't speak. I think that this side of the map is more suited for this vehicle, as I don't think it does overwhelming amounts of close quarters vehicles very easily. Poorly aimed, but it worked out. Yep, that's one of the big problems for this thing. It's a massive target for bombs. Slow-moving massive target. You know what? We're going to go to the other side of the map now, because, yeah. I want to really enjoy the Churchills. It's just so incredibly hard. It's worse than a love-hate relationship. Like, it's just... They're just... I want to love them, but I hate them so much. That's why I really thought that this one would be a good Churchill. Like, I thought it was going to be an excellent Churchill. Because I was like, ooh, cool, a Churchill with a good gun. That would be awesome. And then I realized what they did to the turret armor. And then, yeah, all my hope and dreams all got shattered all instantly. Like, this is where it is a genuine frustration in this vehicle. And obviously I don't have the mobility upgrades. But even if I did, I wouldn't be going all that much faster. And this is it. Like, you're not moving at all to the battlefield. Like, obviously I just had a video the other day that I posted that was the Char 2, or not the Char 2, the C2. C2? Is that the name? I think that's C2. But the French thing. And yes, it's slow, but the thing is the battle rating that it's at makes it go into maps that are much smaller than the ones that you get in this vehicle. So that's why that vehicle's 15 kilometers an hour forward is somewhat bearable. It's hardly bearable, but it is somewhat bearable. Whereas this is completely unbearable because you aren't even going all that fast and you're on a much bigger map. Like, it's just not fun. I don't get how people can have fun playing these vehicles, because I want to play the game. I don't want to play driving simulator. I have a question for you guys. Would you guys rather longer videos or shorter videos? Because I just feel like I don't get enough across in shorter videos, whereas longer videos I feel like I can get somewhat of a point across. Right into the ammunition. Am I gonna get bombed again today? Yeah. Like I said before, massive target for bombs. Oh, even more rockets. Cool. Wow. Oh, man, I love Churchills. They're my absolute favorite type of tank. Nothing beats them, man. Nothing beats them. Best the game has to offer. Huh. Ate a shot from something. Can't tell exactly what yet. That is a tiger. I'm not going to be able to do much to that. Unless I hit a really weak spot, which is small and very hard to hit. I'm a massive target for them. I'm just kind of firing at will because I really don't have line of sight on any of these guys. That is something to note on this vehicle. Its optics are actually pretty solid, I will say. Dude, wow, can't even go through the side of a... Okay, cool. Couldn't even go through the slightly angled side of a T-34. That's impressive. It's just, I don't know. This thing being a 4.3, I'm just going to use the Jumbo as an example, since it has pretty much the same gun. I just feel so much better in a Jumbo because I know how to hide the weak points. I know how to keep people from shooting my weak points, whereas this vehicle, if you're going to shoot an enemy, you can't hide your weak points. They're just there. If you're shooting them, you're exposed. That was kind of lucky. They're... okay. Oh, it's ASU. Ghost shell? How did the machine gun pen one side but not the other? Oh, take a T-14 for example. I would take a T-14 20 million times over this thing. Yes, it is 0.7 instead of 0.3, but still, I would take it 20 million times over. Kind of hoping to hit that SU. Man, everybody's playing their ASU, huh? About 400. Never mind, not 400, less. Okay, 400. What's happening? Is it inaccurate? Like, I have adjustment of fire. I must be tripping or something. Like, I feel like I should be able to rely on my armor, but it just feels so weak when I get shot. It's so weird. It's such a hard... It's so hard to put your thumb on... So hard to put your finger on anything about this vehicle, and I'm getting shot from behind? What? What? What just happened? I just took a shot from behind. It said it was back this direction, I thought. What was that? I just got bonked by an HE shell that I have no clue where it came from. So as you can see, we've eaten a few shots in it, but like, still, I was at a really good angle and he put it straight through that little machine gun port. That T-34. Like, it... Against experienced players, this thing is absolute butter. Huh, cute little SU-57. Well, I suppose that's about as good as you're going to get out of this vehicle. Just a few kills, a few bounces. I don't know, you're not going to get much more out of this vehicle than what you just saw. I might die to CIS again. If I die to CIS again, this video's over. See, this is where oh, okay. Yep, okay, video's over. So, yeah, all in all, it is just a not fun tank to play. I'm sure there are many people that might enjoy this vehicle, but I am not one of them, and I don't think your average player, let alone your inexperienced player, would have any fun with this vehicle. Against higher skill players, or just against many of the cannons that you'll be finding will be shooting at you, it just doesn't hold up. There's nothing really that it can fall back on and rely on at all. What it can rely on just gets outclassed by many things in the matchmaking it sees, and especially with the matchmaking I put it through, it makes it even worse. That's the whole thing. Is it that fun? Not really. Is it that great? Not really. It's just another vehicle to grind through the British tech tree. Is it better than its counterparts, its other Churchill counterparts? No, I think it's on par. It trades a little bit of reliability, at least armor wise, for a, I would say, better cannon. So all in all, it's just a kind of tank. Yeah, if you guys enjoy this thing or if you guys dislike this thing, let me know down below. And I guess that's it for this video. Before you leave, please take a second and like on your way out. And if you've enjoyed this video and you've gotten this far in it, consider subscribing. But yeah, I think that's about it. So yeah, have a chill day.